transferring your consciousness into higher density bodies after death or during the great migration that is coming up, where many souls or avatars will be leaving this planet and going into higher frequencies and higher densities of bodies and into new planets. Today I'm going to talk about the levels between astral and sixth density. I'm going to give you descriptions of the bodies so that you are clear as to what is transpiring during the Great Migration. So first of all, a very short recap, because I have many videos on the astral plane. But most people on Earth die and go to the astral planes because they are addicted to their physical body. They are addicted to their family lineage and their families. They are seduced by many of the addictions of this third density realm, which are all kinds of addictions like cigarettes, alcohol, sex, prescription drugs, not just recreational drugs, but prescription drugs, addicted to lust, addicted to greed, power, addicted to fear. I mean, there's just all kinds. We are an addictive species. This is why everyone has remained trapped in the astral and is having a hard time ever leaving here. The astral is a mirror image of this earth. So when you die, you go there, you're with your dead relatives, you live a life just like you lived on Earth. I've given lots of videos on that. Moving on. There's a large majority of sort of aspirant disciple level group that will be transferring their consciousness into fourth density bodies. These are the people who are releasing their addictions to having an earth body, and they are heavily involved in UFOs, extraterrestrials, the secret space program. They're having all kinds of encounters on ships. They're being taken up on ships. They're having contact with extraterrestrials. And this is fourth density. Fourth density is very connected to our third density. And there are fourth density entities that were demoted down here from sixth density. I have very many videos on that. Those fourth density entities, archons, watchers, fallen angels, ETs, whatever you want to call them, they created in their own image third density bodies, which are highly addictive. But in the fourth density, there are also benevolent ETs who are here trying to help humanity, and they are benevolent in the fourth density reality. And so there are good ETs in fourth density. So when I'm talking about fourth density, I want to give you an example. Think, for those of you who are heavily into UFOs and ETs, think Corey Goode, think Whitley Strieber, and think sort of Star Trek. And think about all the technology that is happening right now with Elon Musk and also the Silicon Valley, where they're wanting to hook us up to AI. This is all fourth density. Fourth density is high technology. Fourth density is also still faction-oriented and warring. So there will be a great many of you that will transfer your consciousness into fourth density reality, and you will be free from the astral worlds. In other words, you're not going to be living in a mirror image of Earth. You will be on ships, because you will be getting contacted by ETs. You will be taken up on ships. You will be shown your position on ships. I've seen this myself personally. This is how I know this, because quite a long time ago, I was being courted by many extraterrestrials, and including some earthbound spaceship groups, you could call it secret space program, to join their fleets and to be a part of their group. But I knew it was fourth density. I wasn't interested in fourth density because I had already been to higher densities and I knew where my purpose lied. But again, I want to say there are many positive beings and entities and groups in fourth density, but there's also a lot of factions and warring. And if you're that type, if you're the military type, if you still love drama, if you're addicted to conflict, if you're addicted to the challenges and, you know, the contrast of reality, you will be contacted by ETs who are still probably in a warring, not that they're necessarily warring, but they are involved in their area of space that still has trading and conflict. And if they're trading, if there are ETs that are trading, they are fourth density because they are still using technology. So that is a large majority of people. I would say not a large on the planet, because most of the planet goes to astral, but this is a large majority of those beginner disciples who are very involved in this kind of reality. So now moving from there to fifth density. And also I want to mention, I have a video 2 videos ago about visiting a planet, and I gave a description of that planet. That planet is high fourth density. It is not a fifth density planet. That planet, you will be able to take your astral body there, and you will be able to blend your astral body into a body that is compatible to that planet. That planet I described several videos ago has no military on this planet. And it is benevolent, and it is peaceful, and it is in a sector of a galaxy where there is no warring and no factions and none of that. And it's very close to fifth density. That planet I described a couple of videos ago has a lot of fifth density beings working with it, and it's a transitional planet, and there is no wars or there is no negativity on that planet. Humans could not go to this planet as we are. You have to have cleaned out your astral and physical bodies. You have to rid yourself of all your addictions. You have to do a lot of work with the sacred fire, and you have to be dedicated to get to that planet. So that is also part of the Great Migration, is going to the planet I mentioned a couple of videos ago. So the next one I want to talk about, and I'm going to just give an idea of fifth and sixth right now. Fifth density transferring your consciousness is going to happen in what is called smart bodies. And I've done videos on smart body. Now, a smart body in fifth density is completely detached from their earthly identity. And I use a fifth density smart body frequently now. And my fifth density smart body has been working on the earth. Occasionally I come down here for things to do in a fifth density body. But my fifth density is primarily working with a Syrian ship, which I've talked about before, that is actually vibrating at sixth and higher, but it's multi-dimensional ship, and that it has many densities that it actually holds within its ship. It is these beings, these Syrians are space beings. They're not earth, they're not planetary beings. So in fifth density, you are still a planetary being. In fifth density, you are connected to a planet. And in fifth density smart bodies, you will be connected to a planet when you make that transference of your consciousness into this body from your divine blueprint. I've done videos on that. So the idea about this fifth density body is that when you're in your fifth density body, you are literally a different being. And I said, when I'm in my fifth density body, I am extremely smart. I have such vast knowledge that it could just boggle the mind of any great scientist here on Earth. It is so advanced. And because I am still transferring my consciousness back and forth into that fifth density, I'm bilocating back and forth into that body, there is still a fraction of my consciousness, or, percentage of my consciousness still anchored to this body while I am living in that body temporarily. So when I'm in that body, not 100% of my consciousness has been transferred there yet. So when I am standing in that body, and I'm usually very, very busy and don't even have any thoughts about Earth at all, but when I have occasionally done work on Earth in a fifth density body, I have the memory or the knowing of the earth me that is either meditating or in sleep state during this bilocation transference experience. So in a fifth density body, while you still are in a bilocation experience where you have two bodies, and remember I said many of the higher beings can have their consciousness in more than one body. In sixth density and up, you can hold consciousness in like 4, 5, 6 bodies. So consciousness in 2 bodies is even possible here in third density. And think Padre Pia, for example. So when you are fully in your fifth density body, you don't even have a thought of earth. You are in a new reality, and you have a new purpose, and you are totally integrated with that purpose. And before you actually transfer over there, while you're still in this body and you're transferring back and forth your consciousness, you are being trained, educated, and initiated into that body. You cannot go where you haven't been. So when you die or transition over, you have to have been moving back and forth in other bodies in order to anchor into those bodies. I've done videos on this. This is why everybody goes to the astral. Because when they dream, most people in the astral dream, lucid dream, or astral travel in their astral body. And so if you haven't been bilocating into a fifth density body, you can't go there after death. You must be able to move back and forth, be initiated into that frequency, get familiar with that body, and become anchored there, so that when you do pass over, just your entire consciousness, which is not in the body, consciousness is attached to the divine blueprint. Consciousness completely releases this body and is completely anchored there. The transition is easy because you've already been anchoring there. So in fifth density, it is a very advanced mind. The mind in fifth density is just way beyond fourth density. It's the only best way I can explain it. In fifth density, because I've been working as a pattern keeper, and I have videos on that, in fifth density, the pattern keeper position that I've been doing in fifth density, and sixth, but fifth primarily just for you to understand, is way more advanced because we are actually working with patterns within our divine blueprint, where the fourth density and third density beings are, they have some understanding of the divine blueprint because some of them, the elders, the watchers, the archons, when they fell, well, when we demoted them through our great battle we demoted them down here. They know about tweaking the divine blueprint, but when they came down here, they were cut off from the ability to manipulate any more of the divine blueprint. So they're working with a fallen blueprint. So they understand that, but they're primarily working with DNA. That's about the level that this third and fourth density is working with. But in fifth density, you actually have the ability to work with patterns in the divine blueprint. And in this level, you will be contacted by beings who are fifth density beings. And those experiences are, while they do have spaceships for sure, and they also are planetary beings, you will, primarily your experience of fifth density will be transitioning back and forth into this body. That's your first experience. You don't experience a fifth density planet, or you don't experience a fifth density ET coming and talking to you. What your divine blueprint is doing is it's transferring you over into this fifth density, and you stand and you watch your fifth density body going about its business. And so here again, we have a multiple bilocation experience because consciousness is multidimensional. Remember that. Consciousness is, my whole entire library is teaching you and the future generations. The consciousness is just magnificent. It can do anything. It can split itself up into many different bodies. So when you first experience fifth density, you will bilocate part of your consciousness into that fifth density body, and then the part of you that's still third density holding to this body will go as a witness and witness your fifth density body in operation for a while. You will just stand and witness it. And then at some point, there will be entities there talking to you about what you're witnessing. And eventually, you will actually then transfer more of your consciousness into that fifth density body and begin to understand, because you can't understand fifth density, I'm telling you, from a third or fourth density mentality. This is why you witness it for quite a while. And when you finally get your consciousness enough anchored into that fifth density body, you will then clearly be able to, even if it's just for a short time, experience that reality. And because it is so different than third and fourth, these lower minds, these lower conscious minds just cannot grasp it. And so you have to be able to be anchored into that fifth density body long enough during these transitional periods to get an understanding of it. When I've mentioned before with the Syrian video I did, when I'm on that Syrian ship and I'm working with the patterns of our divine blueprint, my mind is just, I don't even know how to explain it, except if I say this, don't take it like it's a computer, because computers are not in this issue when we talk fifth density. But I'm talking that the mind, the conscious mind of a fifth density being, is like a very advanced computer in that it processes so fast that our lower minds just, we can't even grasp it. When I'm in there working with these blueprints and I'm working with patterns, my mind is working so fast, so extremely fast, that my consciousness from third density that's trying to integrate just can't grasp what's going on, especially in the beginning. So the more you anchor over there, the more you begin to grasp what's going on in whatever thing you're doing, because you will have something you're doing. Your fifth density body is working, it has a purpose. And eventually you'll be able to grasp part of that. So I could talk about fifth density for a long time, but this video is covering all the way up to sixth. So stay with me, we're on sixth density now. Sixth density, and I've done videos on this, but sixth density is beyond being anchored to a planet. Sixth density is beyond having when I say planetary body, what I'm talking about is when you transfer your consciousness in third, fourth, and fifth density, your body will be made up of the matter and substance of a planet, and that you will have a planetary body. When you're in sixth density, that's not the case. And sixth density can create bodies by thought. They don't need a planet. And sixth density also, they would be considered more space beings, not planetary beings. And in sixth density, you are attached to your body, your sixth density body, which is really the ascended realm here. Before this, you're not in what I would call an ascended realm. And most people will not go past six. There's nobody that I'm aware of on this planet that's making the great migration. I mean, it's not to say that there aren't, but from what I have been told, the maximum movement of this big migration, there is a small crust on the top that will be moving sixth density. But the bulk are going to fourth and fifth with a smaller part to sixth. In sixth, your experience of sixth, and I've had a brief experience of seventh, but it was only just a conscious witness of seventh. I've actually been in sixth, back and forth, quite a number of times now in sixth. In sixth density, you are anchored to a star, and your body you give birth to your body from a star. So I am anchored to Sirius. But you could be anchored to Betelgeuse, to Antares, to any number of stars. There are just any number of stars out there. There are red ones and there are, white ones. They're just all kinds of stars. So at this level, the experiences you have is that you are experiencing your star. When you first get into sixth density, it is a merging with your star. And now when I mention that I'm being given birth from Sirius, I'm not talking about Sirius B, the little dwarf star that created, again, planetary bodies that came to Earth during Egyptian times, and also with the Dogons in Africa and whatever else that Syrians you hear about on Earth. That's some of the planets that are circling the star, just like the sun has planets and stars have planets. So that's not the Syrians I'm talking about. Those are planetary beings. The Syrians I work with, where I told you they have a ship, which rarely ever is focused in third density. It's multidimensional. You've got to reach your consciousness up there to get there. Those beings are star beings, or I call space beings because they dwell in space, but their bodies were starborn. And your transition will be going into this star, and I've been in the star Sirius. I've actually stood in it and transferred my consciousness into the star. And when I was in the star, there were beings in the star with me. And these beings are educating me or relating to me the experience of this transition of when you move after death, or when you make the transition and you move into your star, you will then move from this star dwelling. While in the star, there's a process of education, just like with every transition, and I'm being educated inside the star itself with the star beings. But there is a process when you are totally given birth to your body, and when that occurs, it becomes a light body. But the light is from your star. So when we are talking light bodies, and that's a big New Age word, I'm going to ascend into a light body. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't even know what it is, but I'm going into a light body. Everybody's ascending into light bodies. No. Light bodies are a very specific density, sixth density. You have to know which star you're in. You have to dwell in that star, and your consciousness now is giving birth to a light body. And then when you have a light body and you leave the star, you are now in space. Your light body is made up of the star that gave birth to it. So now that light body has the ability to create bodies in other densities. It can create a fifth density body. It can create a fourth density body. It can create sixth density bodies that are dwelling in sixth density realities, because there are civilizations in sixth density, but they aren't like these planetary ideas. They are star beings, literally star beings. So when you hear I'm a star child, I'm a star seed, well, no. Maybe you are, and that you had a planet that's inside your divine blueprint, because remember, your blueprint is multidimensional, and you have beings in your blueprint that are from planets revolving around a star. So in some ways you might say I'm a star being, but it only just means that there is some star civilization group you came from, but it's from those planets revolving around that star that you came from, but you are associating it with a star. So that's kind of where I want to put this, is that light beings are star-born beings, not planetary. And when I say planetary born, I don't mean that you go, you have this low animal sex thing and you have babies. This is all lower life form stuff. But you do manifest, you do transfer your consciousness in fifth density into a body. In fifth density, you will attract your divine blueprint as your consciousness dwells in it, pulls together all the molecules from that planet and births itself into a body, a tangible body of that planet. You don't have to go through a birth scenario. There are planets in fourth density that birth, yes. And in fifth density, I think there may be a few fifth density planets that might do a birthing, but I really want to emphasize it's not really what I've been seeing. What I have been seeing are beings that it's a system where we don't even understand it here at this level, but it is a system of blending with the planet and pulling all those molecules together with your divine blueprint and taking your consciousness and manifesting a body. ETs have technology, and I've done plenty of videos on this. Fourth density ETs have technology that will take your astral body and solidify it on a ship, for instance, or on a planet. Bodies are abundant in the universe. There's lower technology in that fourth Star Trek density technology that knows how to solidify your astral body. My astral body is being solidified all the time. They take me up on ships. There's a system there. I've done a video on this. There's a system there how to solidify, that I put in you can put in the program and boom, your body is completely solid, just like on that ship. Different subject. So this is where we are with the discussion for today. There's a whole lot more, and I want to say that my Patreon group is dedicated to training you and getting you ready for this great migration. So you're free to watch all these videos, but if you are a serious student and you want to start making the transition to these higher densities, my Patreon group is dedicated to training you and getting you ready and prepared for making these transitions. It's a serious group. You can't be spiritually lazy, and you can't be spiritually jaded because you've seen it all and done it all. You have to be willing to work to clean out your physical body and your emotional body, mental body, astral body, and get yourself ready for so that you can make these contacts. And so if you want to join my Patreon group, there's a link below. So that's my video for today, friends, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.